encounter, Laura told Clayton that she was pregnant with twins. In August 2023, she filed a paternity lawsuit against Clayton, seeking child support. At a trial on June 10, 2024, Laura claimed that she miscarried the twins at some point and was not immediately aware of the pregnancy loss. The judge ruled that Laura knowingly presented a false claim when she stated that she was pregnant. Laura was referred to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for potential criminal prosecution. On January 29, 2025, the police served a search warrant on the North 69th Street property where Laura lived with her parents.
What if someone told you that a woman allegedly faked not one, not two, but 3 pregnancies complete with doctored sonograms, forged documents, and sworn lies under oath, all to trap men into relationships they didn't want? This is the very real, very documented, and absolutely jaw-dropping story of Laura Owens, the daughter of a Bay Area radio icon, and the criminal case that has sent shockwaves across the internet, the Bachelor fan community, and the entire state of Arizona. Stay with me, because this story has everything. A reality TV star, fake ultrasounds, courtroom drama, a GoFundMe, a bankruptcy filing, and a woman who keeps filing lawsuits even as she faces felony charges. Let's break it all down from the very beginning. To understand this story, you first need to know who Laura Owens is. Laura Owens is a 35-year-old woman from Scottsdale, Arizona. She describes herself as an equestrian and a podcaster. But more than anything, she is the daughter of Ron Owens, a legendary Bay Area radio host who spent 46 years on KGO 810 in San Francisco. Her mother is Jan Black, a former KCB's reporter. By all appearances, Laura grew up in a prominent, well-known family in the Bay Area media world. She was educated, well-connected, and socially active in San Francisco. But behind the scenes, a troubling pattern was allegedly beginning to emerge, one that would eventually catch up with her in the most public way possible. Laura's troubles, as court records reveal, didn't start with The Bachelor. They started years earlier, with a man in San Francisco. Let's go back to 2018. Laura Owens was living in San Francisco. She began dating a man named Michael Maricchini. They dated on and off for about 17 months. At some point during or after their relationship, Owens claimed that Maricchini had gotten her pregnant with twins. Maricchini denied it. He said he was never abusive, denied the pregnancy claims, and said he simply wanted nothing more to do with her after they split. But that denial didn't stop what came next. Owens obtained a domestic violence restraining order against Maricchini in 2018, barring him from visiting friends in the San Francisco neighborhood where she used to live. For years, Maricchini lived under that legal cloud. Then, in 2023, while facing criminal charges in a completely different case, which we'll get to in a moment, Laura Owens went back to San Francisco Superior Court and filed to make that restraining order permanent. In her petition, she said she feared Maricchini could still harm her. She cited severe emotional distress. She said he had engaged in threatening conduct. There was just one problem. She had had no contact with him for several years, and she was living 700 miles away in Arizona. Superior Court Judge Carolyn Gold ordered Owens to appear in person for a 2-day hearing. Owens asked to testify remotely or delay the case, saying she had a life-threatening medical emergency. The hearing was rescheduled, and when the new date arrived, Laura Owens was a no-show. She didn't appear in person. She didn't appear remotely. Judge Gold dismissed her petition on the spot. Maricchini, 38, finally free of the legal shackles that had followed him for years, spoke to reporters afterward. "It feels like the handcuffs have been taken off," he said, referring to the restraining order that had kept him away from his own friends and neighborhood. But for Laura Owens, the Maricchini situation was just the beginning. Fast forward to summer 2021. Laura Owens, now living in Scottsdale, Arizona after her family relocated there during the COVID-19 pandemic, went on 3 dates with a man in Scottsdale. After the 3rd date, he decided not to pursue the relationship further. He wasn't interested. That was that, or so he thought. According to prosecutors, Owens then told this man she was pregnant with his child. And just like with Maricchini, investigators say she didn't just make the claim verbally. She allegedly went further, falsifying documents to back up her pregnancy story. The man, through his attorney, flatly denied any coercion took place, for one very specific reason: he said she was never pregnant to begin with. He also alleged that Owens sent him sonographic images of a purported pregnancy, but a reverse Google Images search revealed that those sonogram images were identical to a sonogram from a blog post published in 2014. Let that sink in. A sonogram image from a random blog post on the internet, 9 years old at the time, allegedly used as proof of a real current pregnancy. Owens, however, didn't just make a verbal claim and walk away. She filed a civil lawsuit against this man in August 2021, claiming he had used false promises and verbal and emotional abuse to coerce her into getting an abortion. She sought $45,000 in damages. The lawsuit dragged on for more than 2 years. It was ultimately dismissed. But during that time, she had succeeded in obtaining a separate protective order against him. Now, in November 2025, Maricopa County prosecutors announced a new indictment against Laura Owens, 7 new felony counts tied directly to this Scottsdale man case, including perjury, fraud, forgery, theft, by extortion, taking another person's identity, 7 felonies, for allegedly lying about a pregnancy. And this wasn't even the case that made national headlines. Now we get to the story that put Laura Owens on the national radar. Clayton Echard. If you watch The Bachelor, you know the name. Clayton was the Bachelor for season 26 of ABC's hit reality show, which aired in 2022. After his time on television, he settled in Scottsdale, Arizona, and began working as a realtor. In May 2023, Laura Owens reached out to Clayton Echard. The reason? She said she wanted to pursue some real estate investments and was interested in his professional services. They met up. According to court records, they went on one date in June 2023, just one. After that date, Echard told Owens he was not interested in a relationship. He was clear. He moved on. And then, according to prosecutors, the nightmare began. Owens allegedly told Clayton Echard she was pregnant with twins, his children. Echard denied the claim. He said, in a later interview, that he had never even had sexual intercourse with Owens. But Owens went further. She filed a paternity lawsuit against Echard, demanding child support. And that's where it gets truly staggering, because according to prosecutors, she didn't just make the verbal claim and file the lawsuit. She allegedly doctored a sonogram to make it look like she was pregnant, fabricated a pregnancy video, lied under oath multiple times in depositions, court declarations, and live testimony, and then, at some point, claimed she had miscarried, saying she wasn't even immediately aware of the pregnancy loss when it happened. The case proceeded through Arizona Civil Court. Echard fought back. Eventually, the presiding judge, Maricopa County Judge Julie Mata, had seen enough. After a hearing on June 10, 2024, Judge Mata made a blistering ruling. She said Owens had demonstrated a complete lack of good faith in the proceedings, and she cited what she called serial fabrications, lies repeated in Owens' court declarations, her deposition, and her live testimony. Judge Mata didn't just dismiss the case. She referred it to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for potential criminal prosecution, and that referral had consequences. In May 2025, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office announced that Laura Owens had been indicted on 7 felony counts related to the Echard case: fraud, forgery, perjury, tampering, with physical evidence, 7 felony charges, for allegedly faking a pregnancy, fabricating medical documents, and lying repeatedly in a court of law. Echard, speaking to Fox 10 investigator Justin Loom after the indictment, said he felt an overwhelming sense of relief. He described having a lot of happy feelings, great vibes, and a sense of relief that now the county attorney will fight her. We don't have to fight her anymore, that prosecutors were now taking the fight to her, and that he and his team no longer had to carry that burden alone. Laura Owens, for her part, pleaded not guilty. Through her attorney Joshua Colesrud, she released a statement claiming the charges were the result of coordinated harassment, misinformation, and public pressure, specifically from a group of Bachelor fans who had been investigating and discussing her case online under the banner of Justice for Clayton. She argued that this online community made up of YouTube journalists, Reddit investigators, and Bachelor fans had fabricated a narrative about her, fueled it with thousands of hours of monetized content, and turned it into a criminal case through sheer social media pressure. She called the online harassment brutal. She described how the group had allegedly issued a public death threat against her mother and had called in false welfare checks to their home, knowing the resulting police body cam footage would be released publicly and used against her. To Laura Owens and her family, she is a victim, a woman being crushed by an online mob. To prosecutors, she is a serial fraudster. The trial was scheduled for January 2026. But before that trial could even begin, something happened that turned this story from remarkable to almost unbelievable. Just 6 months after her first indictment in November 2025, Maricopa County prosecutors announced a second indictment against Laura Owens. This time, it was for the Scottsdale Man from 2021 with the fake sonogram from the 2014 blog post. 7 more felony counts: perjury, fraud, forgery, theft by extortion, identity theft. The announcement came the day after Owens had failed to appear in San Francisco Superior Court for the Maricini hearing. So in the span of 48 hours, Laura Owens had failed to show up to court in San Francisco, had a restraining order petition dismissed, been indicted for the second time on 7 more felonies in Arizona. She now faces 14 felony counts across 2 separate indictments, with a third man, Maricini, publicly contesting her claims as well. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office did not release the second victim's name, but the pattern they described was identical to the Eckerd case: a man who ended a brief relationship, followed by a pregnancy claim, followed by allegedly fabricated documentation to support that claim. While all of this has been unfolding in court, the ripple effects on Laura Owens' family have been severe. Her father, Ron Owens, who spent 46 years as one of San Francisco's most beloved radio personalities on KGO 810, is now 80 years old. He suffers from Parkinson's disease and other serious health conditions. He retired from radio during the pandemic, and the family relocated to Arizona. In August 2025, Ron Owens and his wife, John Black, filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Around the same time, Ron Owens launched a GoFundMe campaign, asking Facebook followers to donate to a $140,000 goal to help deal with health, financial, and personal challenges. The Owens family has insisted that the GoFundMe money will not be used for Laura's legal defense. Meanwhile, Laura Owens herself was granted indigent status in Maricopa County, meaning she qualified for a taxpayer-funded public defender to assist with her criminal defense. She is currently free on her own recognizance in the Eckerd case. Jan Black, Laura's mother, has been outspoken in her daughter's defense. She told the Daily Mail that the Maricopa County DA's office is selectively prosecuting her daughter, and described the family's ordeal as emotionally and financially devastating. Laura herself, speaking to the Daily Mail, offered a brief but defiant statement. "I have lots to say, but I would get in trouble. I can say I am innocent, but nothing more for now." No discussion of this case is complete without talking about the online community that has followed it obsessively since the very beginning. The Justice for Clayton community grew out of Bachelor fandom and has expanded into something much larger: a network of YouTube journalists, online investigators, Reddit threads, and social media sleuths who have spent years documenting, analyzing, and discussing Laura Owens' cases. According to Owens' own public statements, this community has produced thousands of hours of monetized YouTube content about her, dissected her medical history, mental health, and personal life, allegedly issued a death threat against her mother, called in multiple false welfare checks to her home, weaponized police bodycam footage to publicly humiliate her, to Laura Owens and her family. This group is an online mob engaged in coordinated cyberbullying, one that ultimately influenced law enforcement to pursue criminal charges against her. To the community itself, they are amateur investigators who followed publicly available court documents and did what journalists and authorities failed to do: connect the dots between multiple men making very similar claims about the same woman. It is one of the most complex and contested elements of this entire story, the question of where legitimate public interest ends and targeted harassment begins. What is undeniable is this: without the online scrutiny that followed the Eckerd case, it is very possible the Scottsdale Man case with its 2014 blog post sonogram might never have become public knowledge. It made national headlines. The daughter of a beloved Bay Area radio icon, accused of fabricating a pregnancy to ensnare a reality TV star in a paternity scheme. The story had everything: fame, deception, a paper trail that allegedly included doctored medical imagery, and lies told under oath. Owens, through her attorney Joshua Colesrud, pleaded not guilty to all charges. In a public statement released through her lawyer, Owens pushed back hard. She claimed the charges were the result of coordinated harassment, misinformation, and public pressure. She pointed to a group her family had come to call Justice for Clayton, a community of online investigators, Bachelor fans, and YouTube journalists who had spent months digging into her claims. She described the group as an online mob that had relentlessly cyberbullied her, monetized content about her case, dissected her medical history, made death threats against her mother, and called in false welfare checks.
People on TikTok were analyzing everything in the courtroom. She blinked 3 times during that denial. That's guilt in body language law. Oh, she used a lowercase I in her notes app. People that don't capitalize I have delusion. Like, I read these comments, you guys. It's crazy. The internet doesn't really do burden of proof. It runs on vibes. People were watching this trial really, really carefully. You know, was this real? Was that real? Was it old footage from another case?
To her home, knowing the resulting body camera footage would be weaponized publicly. Her mother, John Black, told the Daily Mail that the Maricopa County DA's office was selectively prosecuting her daughter, calling the ordeal emotionally and financially devastating for the entire family. But whatever sympathy the family hoped to generate quickly ran into another obstacle. Because just 6 months after the first indictment, prosecutors were back with more. As of late 2025 and heading into 2026, here is where everything stands. The Eckerd criminal trial is scheduled for January 2026. Laura Owens has pleaded not guilty to all 7 felony counts. Her attorney has declined all media comment, citing the pending trial. The Scottsdale man indictment, the second set of 7 felony charges, is still in its early stages. No trial date has been set. The Maricini case in San Francisco has been effectively closed, with Judge Carolyn Gold dismissing Owens' petition to renew the restraining order after she failed to appear. Clayton Eckerd continues to maintain his innocence and has expressed relief that the legal system is now pursuing the case on his behalf. Michael Maricini has publicly stated he wants to clear his name and feels liberated by the dismissal of the protective order that had followed him for years. Ron
said that I had strangled her, that I had taken her within inches of her life, that I had beat her on a regular occasion.
Were you ever physically abusive?
No.
Did you ever threaten her?
No.
Michael says they were all lies, but Laura Owens obtained a domestic violence restraining order against him. Michael's wife, Danielle.
We've spent many nights crying because we just felt powerless, helpless.
They say the restraining order ruined job opportunities and Michael's reputation. Danielle says she was too scared to post their wedding photos from 2 years ago, fearing Laura Owens' reaction.
I felt fearful that she may come harm me. She's just so unpredictable. You don't know what she may or may not do.
But Michael wasn't Owens.
Owens and John Black continue to support their daughter while dealing with their own serious financial and health challenges. And Laura Owens sits at the center of it all, facing 14 felony counts, represented by a public defender.
Moms, it doesn't.
Okay, Laura, you didn't even read it.
Yes, I just did. On the person, Laura Michelle Owens, where does it say you can take my mom's phone?
Take 3 minutes and read the whole warrant.
And it says you can take my mom's phone?
Well, read it. Don't just flip through it.
I have this. There's nothing that says you guys can search my mom's phone.
Laura, you haven't read it.
I did read it. Don't you tell me I can't. I didn't read it. Where does it show that you can search my mom?
Laura, like I said, we did not draft the search
But
warrant.
it doesn't say you guys can search my mom's phone.
Okay, I haven't gone through your mom's phone.
They took your phone, you said.
And Laura, just listen to me, okay? Just because we've set a phone aside doesn't mean that we're searching it.
Oh my God, this is the most insane thing.
Free on her own recognizance and publicly maintaining her innocence in the face of what prosecutors call a years-long pattern of fraud, fabrication, and perjury. Whatever you believe about Laura Owens, whether you think she's a calculating fraudster or a woman being crushed by a mob, one thing is undeniably true. This case raises enormous questions about how the legal system handles false claims, about what happens to men who are targeted in paternity schemes, about online justice communities and where the line is between accountability and harassment, about how families survive when one member becomes the center of a national controversy. There are no easy answers here, but what we do know is that 3 men, Clayton Eckerd, Michael Maricini, and a Scottsdale man whose name we don't even know, have all told strikingly similar stories about Laura Owens. And a judge who presided over one of those cases said she found serial fabrications and referred the case to prosecutors herself. The January 2026 trial will be one of the most closely watched legal proceedings in Arizona in recent memory. We will be following every development. Until then, let us know in the comments, what do you think is going on here? Is Laura Owens a victim, a villain, or something more complicated? So do us a favor, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who want real, well-researched true crime and legal content. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our coverage when the trial begins in January 2026. This story is far from over, and we'll be right here when the next chapter drops.